It's called the Silk Road.
Silk Road.
A billion-dollar online marketplace for illegal
It's like
drugs.
the eBay for drugs.
The elusive ringleader known as
the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Who is
The internet is a vast place. It is one of the most powerful tools the human race has created to date. A network so large that it has the ability to interconnect everyone on the planet. The internet is now a necessity for modern countries to function properly, and the citizens are no different. A large part of society is now immersed in web space. People, businesses, and even governments are occupying it. And as we see the rise of society in the internet, we also see the rise in crime activity on the web as well. The dark web is a term that describes the portion of the internet that is often used for illegal activities. It gets its name from how almost all of these illegal deals happen behind private servers and are heavily encrypted. Just like Amazon came into existence through the internet, black markets are also a commonplace as well. Criminals often use these markets and have private connections in anonymous currencies to ensure their identity is secure. Couple this with the quickly improving rate at which technology and software moves, and you have an ever-evolving battle between cyber law and cybercrime.
One of the most notorious cyber law cases in recent memory was that of the Silk Road. The Silk Road was an anonymous online marketplace that launched in 2011. It operated as a hidden service through Tor, a free downloadable software that uses encryption to enable anonymous communication. The Silk Road first surfaced when rumors of an anonymous Amazon.com began spreading in January 2011. By June, news of the Silk Road had broken the surface net, and over 1,000 purchases of illegal drugs, weapons, and forgeries were being made anonymously through the site each day. Eventually, the operator of the site, who was claiming commissions, identified himself as Dread Pirate Roberts. Shortly after, Dread Pirate Roberts unknowingly contracted an undercover FBI agent to murder an employee whom he feared would leak information. Soon, Silk Road was worth over $1.2 billion, but Dread Pirate Roberts had exposed himself, and in October 2013, he was arrested and his site was taken down by the FBI. He was accused of violating the U.S. Controlled Substances Act by disguising and facilitating illegal transactions and attempting murder for hire. He also violated two sections of the Fraud Prohibiting Law, Title 18, Chapter 95, which prohibits money laundering, and Chapter 47, a cyber law which prohibits the unauthorized acquisition of passwords, both of which are services that could be purchased through the Silk Road. His defense involved Fourth Amendment privacy protections, suggesting that it's not illegal to own a server, and that the FBI had no right to extort money from him while investigating his actions, but he was ultimately sentenced to life in prison.
3.5 hours of deliberation to find Ulbricht guilty of all 7 counts against him, from drug trafficking to money laundering.
So, who founded this notorious online black market known as the Silk Road? His name is Ross Ulbricht. Ulbricht completed his undergraduate studies at the University of Texas in Houston and then later attended Penn State University for his master's degree in materials sciences and engineering. Ulbricht was convicted of money laundering, computer hacking, and conspiracy to traffic narcotics. So, how was he caught? Is the deep web truly anonymous? It is a common belief that the deep web is anonymous. This is false. No matter how careful a user is, law enforcement can still catch up with you. Today, law enforcement agencies use undercover officers who go online. These undercover officers pose as criminals, and they then use hackers of their own, working with specialized internet units such as the FBI Cybercrime Division to help solve these black market interactions such as the Silk Road. Still, much about how law enforcement agencies operate and how they fight cybercrime is unknown due to the fact that they want to keep their methods a secret to be able to catch future criminals.
The Silk Road is a classic example of a darknet takedown. As stated before, Ulbricht was convicted of many criminal acts, of which would inevitably land him straight in prison. On May 29, 2015, he was sentenced to a life confinement in prison without possibility of parole, although his actual sentence hadn't been confirmed until 2015. The fate of the perpetrator is determined based on what crime was committed and the seriousness of that crime. In Ulbricht's case, data theft and illegal access can range in jail time from 1 to 20 years for multiple offenses. The maximum amount of years spent in jail as a result of money laundering is only 14 years, although, if combined with other offenses, as in Ulbricht's case, can potentially add up to a lifetime. These are just a few examples of how the law responds to the severity of the crime committed. In conclusion, since the internet has become such a huge part of everyday life, law enforcement must work even harder now than before to fight against cybercrime. Criminals, much like Ross Ulbricht, are out there in the world, and law enforcement is cracking down. With so much expansion of the internet, in addition to the cyber laws violated by Ulbricht, new cyber laws are constantly being put into action. For example, Congress recently approved the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act, a new cyber law that requires companies share cyber threats with other companies and also with the federal government. This law is important since the internet is so massive. If companies share information about the indicators of a cyber threat, this can make it that much easier to stop cybercrime and cyber criminals. Further, the use of cyber law in Ulbricht's case is still developing. His case was recently reopened on the grounds that some of the undercover agents involved in the investigation unlawfully retained funds electronically obtained from Ulbricht. Essentially, we are in a never-ending search to find a balance in the ongoing battle between cyber law and cybercrime. Will we ever find justice in the cyber world? It's hard to say, but with constant improvements and progressions in the cyber world, we can be optimistic that in years to come, cyber law will evolve to overpower cyber criminals like Ulbricht.